Hey everyone, it's Will from Garage Built Athlete. We are back with a trainer review. It has been a long time coming. Now, if you've been following along, you'll know that I'm a big fan of the Nike Metcons. I've had a couple of pairs of the 7s, I've got a pair of the 8s, and around 2 months ago, I picked up this pair of Metcon 9s from Vinted for £20. I love Vinted for trainers, especially functional fitness, CrossFit trainers. I would always recommend it as a good place to go if you want to try out some different brands and not break the bank. With a lot of trainers currently around 120 to 150 pounds, you've got lots to choose from. V-Lights, Under Armour, R.A.Ds, Metcons, Nanos, NoBulls, the list goes on. And let's face it, if you're going to spend 150 quid on a pair of shoes, you want them to be right. So I take a little bit of risk out, I keep an eye out, and I jump on a bargain when I see it. So I've been using these shoes for over 2 months, regularly in my CrossFit workouts and bodybuilding sessions at home. And I want to give you my honest review on how they hold up, what movements they're great for, what movements I don't find them so great for, and a bit of a comparison in terms of how the shoe has evolved from the 7 to the 8 to the 9. If you're new to the channel, please jump on and subscribe. It really helps us grow. If you like the video today, hit that like button and leave us a comment. Let us know what you liked. So let's get down to it. Let's start off with the style of the shoe. It comes in lots of different colours. There's some really good ones out there, and you can also customise the Metcon 9s as you could do in previous versions. You can even have your name put on the back of them if you wanted to. They are a little bit harder to resell and some people don't have great taste in colours, so if you're going to keep them for life, do whatever you want with them. But if you think, actually, I might be kicking them on down the road in a couple of months when the next shoe I want comes out, might be a good idea just to go for some standard colorways. There's plenty to choose from, and the men's varies slightly differently to the women's in terms of some of the colors that they offer. Okay, so let's actually have a proper look at the shoe. You can see there's got some really nice angles in terms of the foam on the back and how that carries through to the rope climb area. This pair particularly just really unoffensive in terms of the look. There's this grey and white, which I really like the style. And as you can see, I am wearing these a lot, and there really is no wear in terms of the heel or around the edges. They're very comfortable and they're very solid when you wear them. One noticeable difference about the Metcon 9 is the larger rope area. So this part of the shoe is specifically designed for gripping ropes for rope climbs. As the shoe has evolved, that area has got bigger, not just on the inside, but also on the outside of the shoe as well. Metcons generally, I found, are very good for rope climbs. Great grip, and it's due to that rope guard. So far, so good. This rope guard's holding up really well. I have used it for rope climbs, but it's not every week. I've done around 3 to 4 workouts with rope climbs in, and you literally can see absolutely no damage there whatsoever. So that's a real plus point. Next, there's been some evolution in the toe area on the Metcon 9. You can see this patterned area here is slightly raised, which can give you additional grip depending on how you lock in the rope. But it also offers a little bit of protection when you're doing burpees, so the foot is on the floor. It's not going to wear away in that toe area. I do have some trainers which, if there's not enough strength in that area, then you start to get a little bit of a bump where the toe is, and that eventually can wear through depending on how much use you get. In this iteration, they have stuck with the lace lock. So there's a Velcro piece on the tongue at the top, which you can secure with this strap, and that locks your laces in place. Particularly useful when doing double unders, because the laces can come undone. I have other shoes that I have to double knot if I'm going to be doing double unders. The fact that the Metcon 9s have got this lace lock on means that there's no double knotting, but you do have that extra stability there. They got away from the ability to have the lace lock secure at the bottom of the tongue, and that was in the 7s, and they got rid of it for the 8s, and it's not there for the 9s. So probably a little cost saving there. To be fair, I probably wouldn't use it, and I don't miss it. Just having it locked in at the top is great. Now we can see on the sole of the shoe, there is plenty of grip there and plenty of traction areas. The rope guard does come round onto the bottom of the sole. It doesn't go all the way over. So you do have a slightly different texture on the sole of the shoe, which does provide plenty of grip. These are great for stable movements. So I'm talking about squatting, jumping, lunges, anything in one plane of motion. These shoes have been really good for. What I have noticed about the sole of the shoe is what makes the Metcon different is you have this, they call it the hyperlift. So it's a very solid area in the back of the shoe, which is great for lifting. Olympic lifting and squats. It's a really stable shoe. What it's not great for is on lots of shoes that I've seen on Vinted, where it says used a couple of times, the area around here gets completely worn through to the plastic. So this is a hard plastic underneath a very thin sole. You can actually see a little bit clearer here what I'm talking about. So this area is just beginning to wear in terms of that hyperlift heel. You can see it's very thin, the amount of sole on there. Why it wears in that area? Probably from where people are driving and they have their feet up on the carpet and it's moving backwards and forwards, because there's no real other reason I can see why that would get worn down so much. Possibly in how you're applying force through the feet, moving it to the outside of the foot and down to the heel when you're training, but it looks like it's more wear and tear and a rub on a lot of shoes. So do look out for that if you're going to be picking up a second-hand pair, that part of the heel has got plenty of life left. Where the Metcon in general, and they have not improved this for the Metcon 9, it falls down when it comes to running and, for me, turning and twisting and change of direction. Because the shoe is so solid and so stable when you plant your feet, what that does is it means that it can feel quite cumbersome when you need to twist and turn and change direction. Shuttle runs back and forth, twisting and turning, box step overs or box jump overs where you need to pivot. But in general, it's not a deal breaker just because of the type of training that I do with these, especially with CrossFit or bodybuilding or powerlifting. Tends to be in one plane of motion and one direction. It's either up and down or forwards and backwards. So they're absolutely great for that. But running, if you've got more than a couple of 100 meters to do, I would just never put on a Metcon for that. I'd always go for something else, particularly like my R.A.Ds. For general workouts, if I didn't know what was coming up, I'd wear a pair of R.A.Ds. If I knew it was going to be lifting or rope climbs with no running, I'd put the Metcons on for sure. They've really held their status with me as being the shoe for lifting workouts. They were used when I got them, so there's even more use has been had out of them before I started wearing them. There is a little bit of fraying around the top here, potentially where this Velcro is catching, but again, it's not structural. There doesn't appear to be any issue with the quality, either the gluing or the stitches. Everything is in really good shape with me using them for 2 months, plus whoever originally loved them using them for however long that they did. So now let's look at the evolution of the Metcons from the last few iterations. I like to compare the weight in all my trainers. I think it's important. I think when you're moving around through space and you've got additional weight, that can slow you down, even if it's a fraction of a second. But that, depending on the workout, depending on the amount of work involved, the time you're going to be training for. If you're wearing shoes which are heavier, then there's more work to be done in those shoes. If you're wearing shoes which are bigger, got to move that through the space. So the weight of the Metcon 9s has increased. For this pair, this is a size 11. So these are 433 grams for both shoes. So total 433 grams, what you see here. The Metcon 8s were 382. So you've got more than a 10% increase in weight just from one to the next. And the Metcon 7s were 393. So they have increased in weight and size over those last two versions of the shoe. Comparing that to the R.A.D one, they're 390 grams. The Strike Movement, which is a really lightweight shoe, 350 grams. And my last pair of Nanos, which are going on 4 years old now, the Nano X, they were 380 grams. So these are the heaviest shoe that I own. And I think they're the biggest when you compare them with the 7s and the 8s. Let's take a look at that now. Here they are, side by side, my little stable of Metcons. I've actually got 2 more pairs. The reason why I have so many is I love training in these shoes. The 7s are my all-time favorite. The 8s I got a pair of, not quite as comfortable for me. They're a little bit sloppy. They feel a little bit thinner in some areas, not quite as supportive in some areas, not quite as solid as the 7s, but they're still a really good shoe. I also not keen on some of the styling that they went for on here, like this crazy tick and the Metcon in the mesh. I'm just not a big fan of that. But you can see now how these 3 shoes have evolved. And where I've noticed the biggest difference is this Metcon 9 feels big when you wear it. I'm going to stack some of these up so you can see the difference. So if we come round to the back of the shoe, you can see that there is a very similar height in the heel. However, there's a lot thicker padding when we look at the actual ankle support, which is great, but it gives you a bulkier feel. The 7s and the 8s, in terms of that ankle support, are a lot thinner. So let me just bring this up for you. So you can see this area just here is a lot thicker, a lot more solid. I can poke that around. This one has got a lot more padding in. So if you have Achilles issues, you just want to be aware of that there's a lot more padding around the back there. Also notice the difference in the shape of the heel and the toe area on the shoe. So you compare these toe areas. The Metcon 9 is wider, doesn't taper in as much when it comes to the top of the shoe. You can see this arc here, the severity of that curve comes in, whereas this gives you a lot more room in the toe box. The 7 to the 8 are a very, very similar shape. These are a very similar shoe altogether. There's not much of a evolution from the 7 to the 8. That's why I'm just showing you the 8 to the 9. So you can see in the area on the heel as well, you can see that there's a lot more square on the Metcon 9, and there's a sharper taper off in the heel of the Metcon 7. So what I would say is I prefer the shape and size on the 8s and the 7s because this feels very clumpy, is the best word I can describe it. When I'm landing, when I'm turning, and when I need to create that rotation, there's more to get over and get round. This gets out of the way a lot better than this. So if you imagine a box jump where you want to jump on and then turn over, you're hitting it with a lot more surface area, which is great for stability. However, for that agility, prefer the heel on the 7. When it comes to the toe box, however, the 9's got it for me. I have slightly wider feet. I like a bit of space. I wear barefoot shoes a lot. So if they can combine the toe box of the 9 and the heel of the 7 and the 8, I think that would be ideal for me. This will show that slightly better in terms of the difference in size and the profile. You can just see at the back there, the Metcon 9 is just overhanging ever so slightly. And even here, you can see that the shape of that heel just tapers at a more severe angle here, whereas this is a flatter angle. So it just feels like a bigger heel. And similarly, with the toe box, you should just be able to see that Metcon 9's just got that extra bit of space. So if you're looking for that extra bit of width, if you're thinking, actually, I didn't get on with the 8s or the 7s because of a toe box issue, because of the width there, they've done something to improve that for you. So there you have it. That's my roundup of the Metcon 9. Great for lifting, squatting, stationary movements in terms of CrossFit like dumbbell snatch, hand clean and jerks, any barbell Olympic lifting. Really nice shoe. Very comfortable when you are lifting and looking for that stability. There's been an improvement in the toe box in terms of the width across there, but that has also transferred down to the back where you have more width and more shoe to move around. Not great for running, great for rope climbs. What else is there to tell you? I mean, it's an evolution of an already very good shoe. I like them a lot. I like the look, I like the feel. If I had to bin either the 7s or the 9s, I'd have to bin the 9s. The 7s for me, still the absolute pinnacle of the Metcon from my experience. Granted, I haven't gone back to the Metcon 1s and worked my way through. Maybe I'll do that. If you'd like me to do that, I'll grab a pair of OGs from Vinted and I'll start reviewing those and work my way all the way through, like a prequel. So if you're waiting patiently for the 10s, but you want to give a pair of Metcons a go, have a look at these. Don't overpay for them. You can get a really nice pair pre-owned from Vinted. Other marketplace sites are available. And if you look further back to my favourites, the 7s, then you can get them for nothing. Thank you for watching today. If you've got this far and you liked the content, please do subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Share it with a friend who's into trainers or CrossFit or garage gyms. You can check out all of our reviews on the channel. And if you like what you see, please do press the like button. Leave us a comment. I will answer any questions in the comments that you have. Appreciate you being here. That's all from me. See ya.